The popular legend of Christmas goes something like this. Jesus was born on December 25th or Santa Claus, who lives at the North Pole, will fly with his reindeer around the world, come down through the chimney at midnight, December 25th, dressed in a red and white suit, and leave presents under an evergreen tree. Now for the truth. At the North Pole, the winter is dark. The sun literally does not rise for weeks or months. This is because the axis of the Earth is tilted. In the summer, the North Pole of Earth is facing toward the sun, so it's daytime 24 hours a day. In the winter, the North Pole is facing away from the sun, so it's nighttime 24 hours a day. The tilt of Earth's axis is also the reason that in the northern hemisphere, the sun appears to sit higher in the sky in June and lower in December. The North Pole of Earth reaches its furthest point from the sun on the winter solstice, December 21st through the 23rd, and it reaches its closest point to the sun on the summer solstice, June 21st through the 23rd. The fall and spring equinoxes are the exact halfway points between each extreme. As the Earth rotates on its axis, the sun appears to reach its highest point each day at 12 noon. So if we look at the sun at 12 noon every day of the year, it appears to move higher and lower in the sky. If we look at the sun at 12 noon on December 22nd, it appears to be at its lowest point in the year. Then it begins to move higher until March 21st through the 23rd, it reaches its middle point, and on June 21st through the 23rd, it reaches its highest point. Then it appears to move lower in the sky until it reaches the middle point again on September 21st through the 23rd, and its lowest point on December 21st through the 23rd. In the polar regions, the sun's lowest point in the sky results in complete darkness for weeks or months. This is called polar night. The length of the polar night depends on the latitude. For example, at 70 degrees north latitude, the sun at 12 noon is just below the horizon on December 21st, but on December 25th, the noon sun begins to peak just above the horizon. It reaches its lowest point from December 21st to the 23rd, then literally starts its ascent upward on December 25th. Long ago, people in the north lived in teepee structures called yurts. In order to stay warm, they would set a campfire in the middle of their yurt, and the smoke from the fire would exit through the hole in the roof. In the winter, deep snow would accumulate around the outside of the yurt, so the hole in the roof, or chimney, was used as the door. Food was also scarce during the winter, so the people would dig around the base of evergreen trees to find mushrooms. In subarctic climates, these were the red and white Amanita muscaria mushrooms that were symbionts with the pine and birch trees. The mushrooms were heavy when fresh, so they would dry the mushrooms on the branches of the pine trees, then come back later to gather them up in a big sack and carry them back home and down their chimneys. Reindeer are also known to dig for these red and white mushrooms beneath pine trees. These mushrooms can cause hallucinations of flying, which may explain the idea of flying reindeer. December 25th was truly a date to celebrate for these people because the sun literally went away and then came back on this date. This yearly movement of the sun was also viewed in ancient times at the rising and setting of the sun. On the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere, the sun rises to the right of due east. On the spring equinox, it rises in the middle of due east. On the summer solstice, it rises to the left of due east. And on the fall equinox, it's back in the middle. So from our perspective on Earth, there are 4 major positions of the sun throughout the year: the summer and winter solstices, and the spring and fall equinoxes. Facing south, the sun reaches its highest point in the sky at the start of summer and its lowest point at the start of winter. Facing east, the sun rises to the far left at the start of summer and rises to the far right at the start of winter. This up, down, left, right movement of the sun from our perspective on Earth was most likely the foundation of the ancient sun cross. The ancient book of Psalms 19:4 and 5 says that the sun is as a bridegroom, and Mark 2:18-20 says Jesus is the bridegroom. So the sun, representing Jesus, dies on the cross around December 22nd each year, then rises again 3 days later on December 25th. This is not the actual birthday of Jesus. Instead, it's the rising of the sun representing Jesus. For more information on the true birthday of Jesus, the ancient calendar, and/or recent fulfillments of ancient prophecy, see the links at the end of this video. Thank you to everyone who's made this work possible. If you like this video, please consider providing support using the link below. I hope you have a happy holiday.